Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining us today and listening to, oh man,
To Dating Diaries conmigo, Raquel, and
Brittany. Say it right.
I like the double blink before
I
you said your name. Were you thinking about it?
was thinking about horrible breakups, you
Were
know?
you? Oh my
Yes, it
gosh.
had me thinking because that's our topic for today.
It is. Is it your favorite topic or?
Heck no.
Okay.
Shitty breakups are not my favorite
But you
topic.
know what? We like talking about it because I think it's a little therapeutic when we talk about
Oh.
it, and hopefully people who are listening will get something from it.
Just know that you're not alone. Everybody goes through a really bad
Exactly.
breakup,
Yeah.
and there's horror stories out there, man, where you think you had a really bad breakup, and then you listen to someone else's, and you're like, oh, well, it wasn't
Mhm.
that bad.
You are not alone.
You're definitely not alone. So, talking about bad breakups, I had to bring yours up, Raquel, because you had two very interesting breakups.
I did. Well, I had quite a few interesting breakups, but
But these ones will take the
yeah,
cake. Is that
they
the right?
do. They take the pastelito. You know, yes, I want to talk to you about one breakup that I had. Oh my goodness, every time you talk about the past, it kind of opens up, a lot of
What? What does it open up?
like a different window in your memory. Like, oh my gosh.
Definitely windows. My window downstairs opens up sometimes when I think about some good old stories. But when we talk about good old stories, we're talking about breakups and
Yes, the breakups that
those
have,
ones, yeah,
shattered our little hearts. But you know what?
battered.
We always are able to kind of put ourselves together after these
You
breakups
know what? They
because
always teach you something.
we are survivors. We're resilient. And, the first breakup, the first heartbreak, it is always hard. But after the first one, it's kind of like riding a bike.
Ooh,
Wait. In
okay.
in the sense that, okay, well, okay, here we go again. Let's see how, this one, rides out.
Okay, so
So,
tell me about. Okay, so remember, I don't know, listeners, but you might have heard that story about the guy with the limp, with the
oh,
severe limp.
oh
We're
yeah.
gonna talk about this one back again, but this one is because you guys were dating for a while, right?
No, not really. We
Oh, okay,
we we dated for, I want to say, a total of maybe like 4 months, I
I thought it
think.
was 2 years.
It felt
Felt
like
like,
2
right?
years, no. So, this guy, he was very interesting because when he decided that, he no longer wanted to be in the relationship, he did it in a very unique way.
Yes, I
What
did.
is that? Might you ask? Well, let me tell you. It was in the morning. Well, actually, that the evening before, we were in a little discussion. We got into an argument, and then we woke up, and we were still actually in the same argument. And he kind of looked at me, and he's like, you know what? Let's just let it go. Let's just, stop arguing, and let's just kind of just let's just forgive and forget the situation. And I said, you know what, that's fine. So we kind of made up that morning, and as people, when they make up, they get into a little something something.
Did he hit the meow meow?
uh,
That's a yes,
that's
yes.
a yes. So,
Okay.
and it was funny because it was a day that I had to go into work.
You
Yeah,
went to work all glowing.
we went to well, yeah, I went to work, in a happy mood because we had made up from our little arguments, and we just were happy. And
So you went to work. You're like, yes, it's a good day. Nothing out of the ordinary. And then
then, like, around maybe 11 o'clock, I want to say, I called him, and he
ring
didn't
ring.
like that, and he didn't pick up, and I'm like, oh, and usually he does pick up. And us
Your
women,
spider senses went off.
yeah, we're like,
Yep.
you know what, something is off here. And then again, maybe like around maybe 1 o'clock, I text him. He didn't
He didn't
respond.
respond. So you had
No.
called him once. He didn't respond, but you're like, okay, no, you weren't freaking out.
I was freaking out a little bit because
Okay.
usually he does respond. But I
Okay.
was like, you know what? It's okay. Maybe he's doing stuff. And then again, I called him maybe two more times throughout the day and no response. By that time, I knew
Dang, your
something was
meow
up.
meow put him to
So,
sleep. Okay, so
oh
you okay,
yeah,
okay,
that was
okay.
the last thing he was doing. He wasn't sleeping.
Okay, so he wasn't sleeping. So you okay, so he didn't answer. You freaked out the second time, and then what happened? Sorry. I'm just like, damn, he must have been sleeping.
No, he was
Gosh.
not sleeping. So I said, you know what? Let me go home early. So I went home early, and then as I was driving, was kind of racing home. And when I got there, the first thing that I did is I went straight to my closet because he had his clothes hung up in my closet,
Uh-huh.
and all his stuff was gone, all his clothes, his shoes,
Even his dirty
everything.
drawers? His dirty drawers were gone too. Did he leave those
Girl,
there for
please.
you?
He took everything. I'm glad he took those too. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And then when I saw that, my heart just dropped. I'm just like, oh, like a big old big old sock in the
Like somebody
stomach.
just took your soul.
Yeah,
Like,
like somebody just socked me in the stomach. I'm like, ay Dios mío.
dang.
And then I went to the
No,
kitchen.
no. When somebody sucks you in the titty, that hurts more. You're like, oh, why? Why?
Girl, come back, come back.
Sorry, sorry, sorry. Come back, come back. Okay,
So
okay.
I went to the kitchen, and on the kitchen I saw a letter, and it was just kind of like this half torn paper and
Toilet
this.
paper. Piece of toilet paper.
I know I should have wiped my nose with it.
So
And
it's a
then
piece of
it's a piece
paper.
of paper that says, it actually explained. It said, hey, I tried, but we just were not getting along, and it's not gonna work. So, this is it. I'm leaving, and he didn't sign his name,
It put
and
meow meow. Okay, I'm
he
gonna stop.
he
I'm gonna
just
stop.
said bye.
Just like that.
He just
No,
said
I
bye.
love
No
you.
goodbye. No
Wish you
goodbye.
the best.
XO. Whatever. No, just bye. I'm like, oh damn, bye. I'm like, oh my god. So I was just like, I was I was heartbroken, and the first thing that I thought about was calling you, right? So I called and you didn't pick up.
Yeah, because I was getting some,
You were out in the wilderness
I was getting my meow meow
with
hit.
with the Boy Scouts, with a Boy Scout. And then I said, you know what? I'm gonna get in my car right now, and I'm gonna get in the car, and I'm gonna go to Brittany's house, and I'm gonna talk to her. So I do. I get into the car, and I start driving, and then it starts pouring
You do
down.
remember,
It was
yes.
just like this heavy rain. I couldn't even see in front of me,
It
and I'm
almost
crying.
symbolized how you were feeling at that moment.
Exactly. It was kind of mirroring how I was feeling. I was like, whoa, crying, and I couldn't see, and I gotta talk to my friend. I gotta talk to somebody, and eventually, I don't know if did I talk to you that day?
You did because I saw your missed call and I
Uh
remember telling the dude, I was like, give me a minute. My friend's calling. She never usually calls me this late. Something's going on.
huh.
Because it's not like you to be calling me at that time. So I
Right.
remember I did call you and that's when you
hmm
had told me what he did.
Yeah. And it was, oh my God, it was so heartbreaking. Um, and yeah, it was just a terrible way of leaving. I always say to everyone, I mean, if you're not happy in a relationship, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But at least, have the courage to say goodbye to a person and don't just leave them like that. It's so hard all the way around. And I even remember my neighbor was like, oh, because she's like this old lady, like 90-year-old lady that,
Your nosy neighbor.
is everybody's business. And she's like, "Oh, are you okay?" I'm like, "Why? Why? What? Well, this morning,
This morning.
she's my 90-year-old neighbor. She saw me, and she's like, Raquel, Raquel. This morning I saw such and such back his truck into your garage area, and he started packing his stuff. And I told him, "Where are you going? I know it's not working because I know you don't have a job."
He sure did not, and I know she would say that too.
Yeah, she would say that, and and then he just kind of laughed it off, ha ha, ha, and that's what she told me, and he kind of ignored her, and yeah,
So he must have left as soon as you left
yeah,
from work.
that's what my neighbor said, that as soon as that you left, he backed that truck
Oh,
up
he
and
was
started piling his
waiting.
stuff. Yeah, he was waiting.
I wondered if he had it planned the night
I
before.
think so. I think he already had planned it. He had planned
He had a
everything.
checklist, hit the meow meow, write the letter, take off.
That's why it's like, if you're gonna leave, why the hell are you gonna
That's what I'm
you
like,
just
what?
leave? Don't be.
Dang.
He probably said, you know what? Just one more time for the role.
Yeah, and it must have been good. That's why it's like, I have to have that before I leave.
Right? Oh my
That's just
god.
crazy though to me. It's like he must have had an agenda because like how?
Hmm.
Like he knew.
Yeah, he knew what he was doing, but I mean that is just oh my
That's why
gosh.
his hips are bad. Karma comes back to you in one way or another.
Right? Well, shoot. I hope it hit the other hip.
It probably did.
No, no, no. I don't wish bad on anybody.
Just on the hips.
I
No, but
know.
I mean, that is terrible. But you gotta, okay, so that was one of your
Hmm.
really
Bad
bad
breakups.
breakups. I think that was, I remember how painful that was for you. I remember that three-sentence letter with the
Hmm.
bye at the end. And I remember you had invested so much.
So
You had
much time.
invested so much, not just time, but your feelings, your
Oh
emotions. You
yeah,
you gave yourself to this man.
of course. I,
But you
I
gotta
think we
tell
do
us
all the.
about
I gotta
butterscotch.
tell you. I
Butterscotch.
got. I gotta tell you about this other time that I did have a bad breakup. Let's call him.
I call him butterscotch.
Let's call him Butterscotch. It's what happened with his
So
mother?
I remember because I was part of this whole breakup part.
That's right, you were part of it.
I was. I remember that so remember you guys had broken up and he was gonna pick up his stuff and you asked me to come in and kind of be there when he picks up his things while you didn't want to be there.
No,
So tell us a little bit about how that breakup went down.
right. So with this person,
Butterscotch.
it also yeah, Butterscotch. I guess again, it was the breakup was kind of leading up uh to him doing what he wanted, or what he ultimately did. He basically told me one day that his daughter uh, cannot handle her allergies with my dog, and that's why he's going to leave. He decided that I don't know if it was something between us, or I don't know what it was, because it just kind of came out of nowhere. But he
Hmm.
just said, okay, you know what? I don't think this is going to work because my daughter, she's
Allergic to dogs.
allergic to your dog, and I
And you're
wouldn't
like, I'm allergic to your kids, but you don't see me complaining.
go. And this
They were terrible kids. I'm gonna be
stop.
honest. Butterscotch needs to know.
No. Oh my gosh. And before it wasn't a problem with my poor dog, Lucy. They loved Lucy, and all of a sudden she
Lucy
was the
hated
problem.
them. She almost bit one.
Lucy didn't like a lot of people. She was very grumpy, my little dog.
Come on. Okay. Okay. But he had said that. Remember, he had told you that, he knew how much you loved your dog. He knew.
Hmm.
And this is what he told me, okay? He said
Okay.
he knew, he's like, I know how much Raquel loves her dog. I
Hmm.
can't have Raquel choose between me or her dog, so I'm gonna do her the favor and walk
Yes.
away. And
Mhm.
I was like, okay, okay. But then, what did you see online on I think one of those social media things? What picture did you
Oh, this
see?
was recently. I mean, we had broken up. Maybe it's almost been, gosh, I want to say like 7 years ago. And recently, I happened to see him on social media, and there was a picture of I think he was in bed with dogs surrounding and and it was titled, "Oh, when you're sick, your dogs are the only ones that are by you." Like, should I make a comment?
It's like, what happened to your daughter's allergies? Like,
Right. And it
what?
wasn't one, I think it was like two dogs. And I was gonna comment on the picture, but I just liked it instead. Like so he
Oh
knows that
man,
hey.
that guy though, he came up with such a ridiculous
Remember
story.
remember when he came back for his stuff because he left
Yeah.
some stuff at my house. So he came back for his stuff and I had planned not to be there when he came to pick up his stuff. I told you, "Hey, can you be here because I just don't want to talk to him."
You know me. I'll be there. I have no
So here
problem.
he comes with a big old U-Haul truck, right? He was going to pick up all his stuff. And you were there and he
I
came
mean,
in.
did he really need a U-Haul? He didn't have much.
But he had a big
He
truck,
did.
right?
He did bring a big truck. But
Okay.
I was laughing because I was like, what are you planning on taking? You don't
Right.
have much, but okay.
So he was there getting all his stuff, whatever, and then he wanted to get my KitchenAid,
Those
my mixer.
expensive ones,
Yeah,
yes.
and then you stopped him, right? What did you
Oh,
tell him?
okay, so he's like, "Oh yeah, that's my KitchenAid." And I looked at him and I
Mm-mm.
said, "No, that's not yours." And he's like, "Yes, it is. I bought it." And I said,
With
no, because I was with her when she bought that KitchenAid, and I know how much that KitchenAid cost, and I know that's not yours. And
exactly.
then I was like, so you're that's not yours, so you're not taking it. He's like, oh, well, it's because I had one, and I was like,
Hand mixer. That's that was his.
it's a cheapy one. It's the white
Yeah.
one that has a little two silver
You
things
get
that
yeah, there you
spin.
go. You get it for $10 at at a whatever store.
Yeah, I was like, this
Why
guy.
did he compare that to my KitchenAid? He was gonna take it.
He was until I stopped him and I said, get out of here.
With your
Get your
little
ass out of here.
mixer. I'm glad that you stopped him.
I did because I know those KitchenAids. I was about to steal it myself and blame it on him, but I was like, he's my friend. I can't be that. I can't be that way. You know, I
No more
don't
cookies for you,
like. No,
man.
I was like, I didn't want to lose your friendship for a KitchenAid, but it was tempting. It
I
was
go to your
very
house. It's familiar.
like, I bought it. Remember, like, Butterscotch bought his. I bought mine too. But no, yeah, I remember he was trying to take that.
Yeah,
And then
so
that's when he told me that story too,
he
that
did.
he couldn't have you. He didn't want you to choose. Come on. I was like, I would have took Lucy. And I know he was, I know he was gonna just, he was you know what? It's a blessing that he left.
It is. It was.
Those
Yeah.
kids were horrible. You would have to put
Stop.
up with them. I'm just sorry. I would probably stop visiting you. That was how bad it
Bye,
was.
chica.
I only like the little boy.
I,
That's it.
you know what?
He
I
was a
just think
sweet
it was
kid.
not a good relationship all the way around, and I'm glad that he left. I'm glad that he took his little stuff his stuff with him and you know what I did see
His
him
little
like
stuffers.
I did see him a couple of years later. He was on a social dating app, and he sends me a message, and it's like he's like,
Like reconnecting with
yeah,
you?
he was trying to reconnect with me. I mean, this is like maybe for like 5 years later, and I'm just like, he said, "Oh, hey, how are you? How are things?" You know what I did?
Ghost
I
them. I'm just kidding.
I just blocked him and just like, I do not want to talk to
You thought about
you.
those kids, didn't you? You're like, block, no, never
I
going back
thought
to
about
that.
him, and I do not want to go for back to something. So for he just left like
He just left and
as if
didn't
it
even
was nothing,
agree.
So
So you know what? I know it was hard. That breakup was really
that
hard.
was a hard breakup. It was even harder than the previous story that I told you. Yeah,
Yes,
it took me like a year to get over it, but you know what? It makes you stronger.
it does.
You
And it,
know.
you know what? I think it was a blessing that he
Mm.
walked away because he wasn't he wasn't
He
for
wasn't
you.
for me. He wasn't for
No.
me, and I'm so glad that I see it now. Butterscotch, if you're listening to me, if you're listening to this, I I'm so glad that, I did not end up with you, okay?
Yes.
And with that, I would like to say good night for having
Thank you everyone for listening. Once again, we will see you guys next Friday. Stay tuned. We always put our podcast, we always put it out at 7, so make sure you listen to our next episode. It's just going to be just as good as the other one. So, please listen in.
have a great day. Bye.
Bye.